Should we go for a little drive around the capital?
Yes, let's do that.
Yes, let's. Robocop.
It's good that. The wheel twitched as well.
It releases the lock.
pin.
It releases the locking pin if you've got it locked in at a particularly aggressive angle, I suppose.
That's good.
Got your first generation iPod centre console
I
deck,
noticed this.
which I personally love.
Yeah, so this is all touch sensitive.
Yeah, so put
These
your,
are-
put your heated. That's physical buttons.
That's very funky
Yeah,
lock.
very militia.
Yeah.
Your poo cooker, for example, put that on. It's sort of, it's not. Yeah, was that classed as touch sensitive? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's nice. I think that I love the centre console. You didn't have to buy it in white. This is like pearl white.
Where
You
what
could get
did
it
you
in
have?
red or grey.
Red.
Yeah, like really, like Mars red,
Oh, okay.
which I
interesting.
don't really think worked.
I'm impressed that this is not as dirty as I would have expected. Like, how old is this car now?
2013, this particular car,
Okay. And how many miles on it?
a mere 45,000.
And why did you buy this?
I bought this because I had the first gen Insight
Yeah.
in that lovely green colour,
Yeah.
and it was a wonderful car. But I was starting to share the school run more with Mrs. Smith, and I have 2 children, as do you, and a 2-seater car doesn't work on the school run
True that.
when you have 2 kids. So reluctantly, hashtag reluctant sale, I sold it.
Did the first to see buy?
The first to see, actually the first to hear about it via social media bought,
Oh, well.
and they were Honda.
Oh,
So
yes, I
when
forgot you
it
sold
is-
your Honda back to Honda.
I sold my Honda back to Honda.
Inside job.
Yeah, and
They've put it on their heritage fleet.
It's mothballed in their heritage fleet, and I have got first refusal to ever buy it back, because if my circumstances change, I will certainly
Get off your
find it.
phone, you
I
tit.
was going to say, it was totally on the phone
Just
then.
slowing to a halt because he's on his phone.
What an absolute wand of plenty.
Oh, I was going to say go up there, but don't worry about
Well,
it.
I've got no one behind me.
Mhm.
I'm just going to slick it.
Slam it into reverse.
Chrome-sided Cobra head.
Oh, yes.
Quite like it. It's
Oh.
not massively Cobra heady. Not in the sort of XG30 kind of realms of Cobra head.
I also, it amuses me a little bit how the gear selector in this, when you put it into park, or if it sort of disappears into this hole a little bit.
It does, which I like.
Because I can't work out why they've done that, but it's sort of amusing.
Well, I mean, you've got ISO cubby in it, which is fairly common on a lot of designs now. This car came out in 2012.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I remember
2012.
driving it, but the Vauxhall version, which is all but identical,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Just a different front bumper. You turn down here, it's my old street. I had a road ragey sort of incident here with a guy, which culminated in me telling him to shit off.
No, that's so partridge.
I know. I was in the car with my the woman who at the time was my ex-girlfriend, and so she didn't like me very much.
Oh, at the time was your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, we'd had to go to a sort of mutual friend's wedding or something, I can't remember why, and she went, shit off, like, you know, is that the best you could do, you pathetic twat. Les Dennis used to live there.
Oh, is that Les Dennis's old
Yeah, I
house?
think he's moved now, but anyway, that's where he used to live.
Now that's interesting, because we've had the Les, and I used to walk up here to catch the bus.
Oh.
And I remember seeing Punter Dennis walking his kids to school.
Yeah, there
up
used to be a
here.
lot of celebrities around here. That's my old flat there.
The one that sold.
No, I think that must be upstairs. Oh my God, what are they doing to the front of my old flat?
Did you own it?
Yeah, and Simon Pegg stalked me for a while, although he didn't realise it.
Oh, I see.
Because he used to walk past, and then one day I got on the tube in the centre of London, and it was like, as the doors opened and I walked off the carriage, he was already sitting there, and it slightly freaked me out, and I wanted to go, leave me alone, Peg.
You didn't have that awkward thing where you all both walked home in exactly the same route?
No.
This car has started creaking,
It's creaking, isn't
just
it?
as we started filming it. I mean, I've had this bloody thing 3 years.
So, yes, to return to that is why you bought it, because you needed a 4-seater car.
I needed a car with more than 2 seats. I didn't need a 5-seat as such, because this is 4, as you know.
Yeah, it's
that
funny
sim-
that, isn't it, with that central divider thing, because is that because this battery thing runs
The
down
battery
middle?
runs in a T shape. So under the back seats and down this big spine, so it's like an executive 4-seater. Now my kids love it because they get a nice big centre console, and there is an accessory armrest like this that you can fit in the back. But yeah, I bought it because we always end up talking about cars that interest you. I drove a Vauxhall one when they were first launched.
Yeah.
I always thought it's 36 grand. That's a lot of money, which will put a lot of people off, but I think it's a fabulous bit of engineering. I think it's a masterstroke by General Motors finally, after many years of duffers. And I quite fancy that in a few years. And then when I came to having to sell the Honda, I thought, what am I actually going to buy? And I looked at several cars, several car options, and in the end I thought, I don't mind an Ampera, I don't mind one with a Vauxhall badge, but if I can, I'll buy a Volt. And I think you and I had said we sort of prefer the styling of the Volt ever so slightly. And I guess I like being slightly exclusive, and this is exclusive in that they really didn't sell many of them.
I don't think they sold many of the Vauxhalls either, did they? I mean, I know they sold fewer of the Chevys,
They
but
sold-
it's a pretty rare groove car all round, isn't it?
Yeah, they sold about 3,500 Vauxhalls, Amperas. They sold, and I'm going to get this wrong now that I'm actually saying it, I think they sold 132 Volts UK-wide in 2 years.
Really?
It might have been 3 years, yeah. And I've brought it for you today to have a look at, because you know you're a perv. In the glove box, I've got an original UK brochure.
Oh.
UK
look at that.
brochure.
Did you put the holes in that?
No, I got it from the Chevrolet dealer who still services this car, and they don't need it anymore because there's no Chevrolets to sell.
Yes.
So I managed to prize it out of their lovely fingers, and they are Buckingham and Stanley in Cambridge because they're lovely guys, and they've been really helpful to me, and I like them.
And this would be a series hybrid, I guess
You could call it a range extender electric car.
Range extender.
Yeah, so that's its official title. A lot of people refer to them as electric cars.
You'll know this because I imagine you've read and memorised this brochure many times.
I actually haven't.
Okay,
No,
so
I haven't.
do
You can-
you
you
know
can-
who the director of design for the Volt was?
It's a lady.
It's not. Well, it might be, but they've got a chap's name. Their first name is Bob.
Oh, okay.
Could be a woman.
My
but,
dad's name is Bob.
Bob Boniface.
Boniface. Okay.
Boniface. Bob Boniface.
Bob Boniface.
Nice to meet you.
I bet Bob.
Boniface.
I know there's is it a 16 kilowatt hour battery pack in this car?
Oh,
I think it is.
With its aerodynamic Corvette-inspired design. Now, I think they're pushing their luck a little bit there.
I'd never read that. Gosh, I'm embarrassed.
The
to
Volt
even-
is not afraid to turn heads.
Well, I think it's a good-looking car. It's not the most stylish car ever, but it looks better than the equivalent, Focus Astra of the era. It uses a lot of Astra bits. The engine's 1.4, which I think is a derivative of might be a Corsa
And
in some way.
I remember at the time reading somewhere that this exterior thing, where the side windows are deliberately shallow to try and reduce the thermal load in hot climates, so that the air conditioning doesn't have to work as hard
I remember you
for
telling me
eco
this.
reasons. But then the windows would be so shallow they'd look weird, so they put this black.
Like a waistband.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
of design cheatery, and it sort of makes the car look more normal, because I think they didn't want it to look too weird and futuristic, because it would put people off.
Well, I wasn't looking for a silver car, and silver cars are quite boring, which my wife reminds me of most months that I bought a silver car, how dare I. But what I would say is, because they're two-tone,
Yeah.
they always look interesting, and it's one of the few cars I wouldn't buy in black, because you lose all the two-toneness.
Yes.
And I did find a black one, and weirdly, there is one in Stamford, really close to where I live, owned by an old couple from New, and it's a black Volt. So I'm not the only Volt in the village, as it were.
So,
But even if you don't give a toss about the way it looks, I think as a piece of packaging as a motor car, it's really good. It makes
and it's
sense.
basically, it's an electric car.
Yeah.
If you've got juice in the battery,
Yeah,
and it trundles around, as we're doing now,
yeah,
on electric power.
yeah. You can
But there's
see.
a petrol engine that is basically just an onboard generator, so you've got 17 miles there.
Yeah. In summer, you can get up to 50 miles of range.
Really?
Yeah. In days like today, where I woke up this morning and it was freezing, it was 0 degrees. I got 33. So that's your kind of your sort of 32, 33 up to about 50. People in hotter countries have said they can get more than 50 to a pack. And if you flit, you've got this button-eared drive mode.
Yeah.
If you flit between holding the battery pack, so this morning driving to you,
Yeah.
I saved all my battery pack, put the Jenny on,
Yeah.
and then got on the motorway and came down with the Jenny running, which is not as efficient, of course.
No.
But that means when I came into London, I stuck my battery power on and I came to see you, and that's why we're driving around with still lots of
Nice.
battery juice.
And what's mountain mode?
Mountain mode is lower gearing.
Oh.
Yeah, but even that it
Lower
has L as
gearing?
well, and
Oh.
it says in mountain mode also don't drive it too quick, because I guess it's just everything is everything's geared towards, and it might up the cooling. Or it might. I don't think it's more aggressive on the regen. You can't adjust the regen on the Volt.
Oh.
You've got this little green ball
Yeah.
graphic, and the idea is to always keep the ball in the middle, whether you're decelerating or whether you're accelerating. So it's
like a Jackie Stewart driving exercise.
something like that. Yeah,
Um,
it is a bit, and you can configure that differently. If you want, you can get rid of the ball, and you
Oh.
can just have your fuel, and you can have your battery,
Right.
or you can have your fuel up here. That's your combined range, bottom left. So that's
okay.
how much battery and how much fuel. I haven't actually got much fuel, so we probably have to fuel up today.
I also remember reading somewhere someone who'd bought one of these early doors when they came out, and then discovered that because they were using it purely on electric, driving short commute,
Yeah,
and then plug it in at home,
yeah.
never troubled the petrol engine. And then one day they were slightly alarmed when the petrol engine just started up, and
Yeah.
they discovered that if you don't start the petrol engine, if it's never brought to life because you don't need it because you're always plugging in,
Yeah,
that it's programmed at some point just to do a little cycle where it just runs for a bit,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to keep itself
it
alive,
does. Yeah, and
or
also
in a state of readiness.
yeah, and there's a lot of settings on this car. When you go into when you press the leaf mode.
Yeah.
Leaf mode gives you a graph of like how you've been doing today. Now I've been doing really badly today. That's about as inefficient as I've ever seen it. Because
Really?
all I've done is immediately driven down with the Jenny on. I've not used hardly any battery yet.
But lifetime 84.
But that's my average, yeah, my lifetime average, which has gone down. It was about 87, 88. Now that's what you want to look at if you're ever buying one second hand, because that tells you a lot about the life of this car.
Can you reset it, or is that going to just be there?
You can't reset it.
Ah.
And what's great about it is if you're one of these people that bought one as a tax squiz and you've never really bothered to charge it,
Yeah.
you're just running it as a petrol car,
Yeah.
that will obviously be pretty low.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of the health of the batteries potentially, and that's your graphic for your. My son loves this. I mean, it looks pretty old-fashioned now, but then you forget. Some people get in this car and I give them a lift now, and they go, "Wow, is this all new? Has this just come out?" I'm like, "No, this is like 2011 design."
Do you know what dates that screen? The graphics are all right, but actually what dates it is how small it is. Screens are getting bigger and bigger, aren't they? That looks like
Yeah.
quite a dinky screen.
Do you
now.
think it's too small though, or do you think
No.
we've just got? Is it all got a
No.
bit out of hand? Everyone wants a
It's-
massive
it's
tablet.
a little bit out of hand, isn't it? But
Yeah. So the charging here, you can change your chart, so you can charge it when you immediately plug it in, or you can delay it based upon your departure time or your electric rates of your prices of electricity. So mine comes on in the middle of the night when I've got economy 7, and it's always ready for me before 6 in the morning, and you can preheat it on the keyring.
what?
Yeah, you preheat this car on the keyring, which is just great. Love it. Love that. Love it, mate.
They've thought of stuff, haven't they?
Well, this is the thing. Even back, I would say this is deemed like old tech in eco car terms, really, and yet it's got a lot of thought gone into it. It's a hell of a package, and I guess that's why they priced it the way they did. It was seen as a very expensive car for the segment, but look at it. If you can go up to 50 miles EV only, like for me, this works really well because. Take an average week for me, I might do lots of short journeys and then I might go to Heathrow and back. Heathrow is really shit for charging.
Is it?
I'm ashamed to say. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's rubbish for EV charging. So I will typically not be able to charge it unless there's a Premier Inn with one that will do it FOC, which is cool. But in that instance, right, if you weigh up what you've done over the course of a week, over the course of a week, you've done lots of short town journeys, which is EV only.
Yeah.
And my wife, when she was going to work and back, that was 12 miles each way commute. I can do that EV only on this, even in winter. And then you preheat it if you want in the house overnight. And then when I go down to Heathrow, I don't have to worry. As long as I've got fuel in the tank, the thing will run.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah, so you don't have to really think about what you're doing. It's great for brainless people like me who are interested in eco-driving. And as long as you look at where you're going and stuff, and you can flip between modes, you can hold a bit of battery power, and you can get quite a lot of energy back on the regen. It's not as efficient as modern.
On the regen?
Yeah, it's not as good as like the e-Golf, for example. The regen on that's way more efficient, but it's an older car now. And what's weird about this car is I've had it 3 years, and I think it's worth the same now with 30 more thousand miles on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's worth the same.
So are they
now.
quite sought after then?
They've suddenly become really sought after in like the last 12 months, and I think it is because people have realised what they are.
Well, I'm trying to think. Is there another range extender at the moment that works like this? Well, I know there was some
The
controversy.
i3 BMW, they've stopped
They've
making
binned
the
off
Rex.
the petrol engine.
Yeah,
One of them is all pure
yeah.
electric now. Yeah, there was some controversy or controversy or what.
Yeah,
have
what would you
in
say?
I don't know. Now you're making me
I
think
say
about
controv.
it. Controversy.
I say controversy.
Well, there was one of those anyway in the US when this car came out, because initially GM had said the petrol engine is purely an onboard generator.
Yeah.
And then they sort of fudged it a bit about whether or not the petrol engine could directly drive the wheels. And
Yes.
it turns out that in an extreme circumstance, yes, it can.
Yeah.
But it's generally set up so it doesn't.
I remember this chat, yeah, because it's got like it's got a pretty complicated gearbox. Oh yeah, there's whole tutorials in here. When I'm stuck in traffic, it gives you full tutorials. Look, efficiency gauge, the instrument cluster. Yeah, you can read all about it. Vehicle charging, maintenance, climate. It tells you basically to say if you want to save your energy, just put your poo cookers on and don't heat the whole car up.
Yeah.
There's a thermometer button on the key fob. You hold your finger on the lock button for 5 seconds, and then your finger on the thermometer button for 5 seconds, and it will start the preheat procedure. And you can decide to preheat it wherever it is, or if it's only plugged in, or if it isn't. So it's got
nice.
it's got some cool features, yeah.
So if you're using this on a day-to-day basis and just doing school run and stuff like that, then you wouldn't be using the petrol engine very much.
Precisely.
At all. It's just.
So on an average week, let's say your average week has one long journey in it, that will involve some petrol. But when you're doing lots of sort of sub 30 mile daily routine runs, it's not using any gasoline. It's reasonably pokey.
I've just remembered
It's got sport
my
mode.
favourite thing about this car when I drove it.
What's that?
It's got that extra horn.
It's got the politeness horn.
The politeness horn.
Yeah.
Because didn't they say that they were worried that people don't hear electric cars coming and that someone might just walk in the road in front of you and you don't want to hoot full horn because that's aggressive.
Yeah.
So
it's got a little pedestrian look. You can see it's got a pedestrian logo on it.
Oh,
and a little
yeah.
horn. So that's your main horn.
Go on,
like
do
most
it.
cars. What you want to use that horn?
no, not that one.
Right, this is your politeness horn. Met, met. It's like, I love it. It's
like a little hummingbird.
It's like a trombone player with a mute in the end. Is it a trombone or a trumpet with a
Trumpet
mute?
or cornet.
A cornet with a mute.
Yeah.
Like a horn with a mute. But the main horn is like 3 times louder and
Yes.
more aggressive.
Yeah, well that's the thing. It's quite nice.
And I like that. You don't get that on so many cars.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have any artificial synthesized noise on the EV mode.
Does it not?
No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Yeah.
It has the startup
I
noise.
thought it did.
Oh, I don't think it has.
I thought it made a little whine.
I think that a really high pitched kind of fizz, not a fizz,
But like I thought it had a synth noise. Does it not then?
not outside, inside it does.
Oh.
But you heard the Robocop noise.
I like the Robocop.
And when you shut it off, it makes that too. In fact, if these lights stay red, look. And then,
Hang
and
on,
it
so
says,
start it again.
yeah.
Like David Bowie in Labyrinth.
It is like Bowie in Labyrinth.
Sarah, look at my balls.
Which way have I dressed in these ever so tight yoga pants?
They really are squeezing my balls.